That's right. And we are ready to get things started to introduce you to your first of the two competitors this evening for the second bout. It's the Brutal Beauties.
They're first. You want me to breed them? I don't know. Yeah, you can. Yeah. Skating for the Beautiful Beauties tonight. Oh.
You gotta do this thing.
They're going to do hand claps first. Yeah. Hand claps first. Good luck, 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 good luck.
I don't know what you call it. They pack up and then you do the thing.
Here we go. Skating for the Brutal Beauties tonight. Number 2, Maximum Overdrive. Number 3, Crowbar. Number 4, What about now? Number 30, Zora La Bruja. 41, Joliet Jane. 9, MK3, Gypsy Danger. 600, Thigh Voltage. Number 801, Avril Lavigne. 925, Evil Twin. 2011, Call It Razor Cat. 7780, Pee Wee Vermin. 38, NC Jammer, making a return appearance. Number 011, your co-captain for the evening, Skeletori. And the captain of the Brutal Beauties, 2187, Princess Leia. Coaching for Pink tonight, Quiver Phoenix and Stink.
Preparing to take the track, it is the team in blue. Get a firm grip on your lunch money. It's the Schoolyard Scrappers. Skating this evening for the Schoolyard Scrappers, number 13, Hugs and Stitches. Number 18, Embezzlement. Number 19, Kitsch. Number 96, All of You Die. Number 151, Ash Smash'em. Number 310, Full Metal Anarchist. Number 440, Morning Madness. Number 626, Remy Ruckus. Number 824, Venus Vendetta. Number 1981, Sandra Slay O'Connor. Number 835, Scarin Yeager. Number 300, your co-captain, Dolly Spartan. And your captain of the Schoolyard Scrappers, number 172, Pikachu. Coaches this evening for the Schoolyard Scrappers, Thrill Sergeant and Juicy Kill Tour. As we get ready to start this bout off, we also wanted to let you know we had a slightly incomplete information. We wanted to give our recognition to the coaches, the captains for the first bout. Your captains for the Doomsday Valkyries this evening were Mimi Mahler and Remy Ruckus. And your captains for the Runaway Brides were Lightning the Queen and Cryptic Callie. So let's hear it for Cryptic Callie, who is here tonight. All right, we are about ready to get underway here in this bout. There we go. I know, something to wiggle to a little bit. Yeah, okay.
Just as a follow-up reminder, make sure no whistling from the crowd. Thank you, Freya. Freya has a whistle. Freya is allowed to whistle. Not you, though.
Yeah. Always important to touch on that. Also remind everybody, in addition to Al's no whistling reminder, is also stay behind that yellow line around the track at all times so that you don't catch a skate to the face. That's bad. At the jammer line right now for the Brutal Beauties is Princess Leia.
Dolly right out on the low before the turn one. coming around skating the track on her first scoring pass. Sleia's also out, cuts down on the turn, coming around at, I'll say 50% speed.
So Dolly now approaching the pack. First jam of the bout. Dolly fighting through. Get some help from a block from Skiernieger there at the point. Picks up your standard 4 and calls it off, and our scoring's underway.
Looks like that was everybody except the jammer, so a 4-point jam.
Up to the jammer line now. It's always fun at the beginning of the season to see skaters you haven't seen skate in a while. And we got Skeletori at the jammer line for
Welcome back, Tori.
Welcome back a number of people. Yeah, baby. That's, oh my goodness. Speaking of which.
Yes, Milani Mangler had a fantastic first bout back.
And there's Olive Udai as the jammer for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Again, another one of those skaters I mentioned in the first bout who helps our home teams fill their rosters. And there we go, both jammers out at the same time. Olive is going to take off in second. We got Skeletori out in front. Tori's checking over her shoulder and making sure. Now both of them stay low in the turn. Look at that speed skater stance as they whip through the corner.
Yep, Tori saw some points available there and went ahead and got those.
I don't want to misquote the speed skater's name, but you know who I'm trying to think of. Is it Lauren Jackson?
Aaron Jackson.
Aaron Jackson.
Hey, go Gators.
I wasn't quite sure. Right. But yeah, kind of hunkering down through the corner like that. That was kind of fun. No points either side. That's Skiernieger for the Scrappers. Ooh, taking a hard hit there along the inside for the Beauties.
Jaeger's out on the low right after turn 1, coming around on their first scoring pass. Pink Jammer still in on the high.
Pink Jammer is Colette Razorcat there at the back of the pack and took a real hard hit there at the back, trying to fight through at the beginning of the jam.
Jaeger's through on a full scoring pass, coming around for scoring pass number 2. Pink Jammer still in the pack. It's just barely escapes.
Now weaving up to the outside. Here's Jaeger trying to find an opening. Routed down to the inside there. Very ably.
Yep. Avril Lavigne still in.
And there, oh, goodness, look out. Let's make sure everybody's all right down there. Are we okay? Are we okay? Everybody's back up on all 8. Yep. Oh, no, that's gonna be a tender back.
100%. A little bit of hard fall. That concrete is not soft, Clifton.
Yeah. The concrete. I mean, obviously, you know, the Formica service does not give a whole lot, nor does wood, but it's better than concrete.
Looks like Pink is skating with a double advantage. I have seen 2 blue. Got Venus and Dolly both in the box, and Pink appears to be full. So this will be a little bit of a strategical advantage for Pink. Evil Twin cuts up to the high, out in the first straightaway, coming around on her first scoring pass. Stitch is still caught up in the back with that Pink defense, really doing a great job at making sure that there's a wall with a point of contact. Couldn't hold her though. Stitches is out as well. A little bit of a jammer race. Twins coming around, actively scoring on blue. Ducks down. Olive is able to take her off, but comes off herself, is not able to have to honor that position. Twin calls the jam.
There we are. 4 points for the Brutal Beauties are now on the board. 13-4 here in the very early going. Looks like we're going to have, that is going to be Sandra Slay O'Connor for the Schoolyard Scrappers.
And Gypsy Danger for the Pink. A little bit of a blue advantage on this jam. Pink's got 1 blocker in the penalty box. Blue's working that back wall strategy, trying to absorb that initial impact of Gypsy. Gypsy's able to squeeze past a little hop and skip, and she's out right over the apex. Pink is coming around lead.
Sandy kind of up to the front defensive wall there and sort of looked around for help, got a blocker. Now up to deal with those 2 blockers at front on her own and gets routed off to the infield by NC.
NC's last line of defense up there, making sure Sandy doesn't get out. Takes her up to the rail. Really's got those laser eyes on, make sure Sandy doesn't get out. The slower the pack goes around, the easier it is for Gypsy to get multiple scoring passes. So Pink keeping the pack nice and slow as Gypsy comes around nice and fast is the goal.
6 seconds left on the jam clock, and the Beauties are going to kind of grind everything to a halt here. And here comes Gypsy plowing. I saw a skater go down hard, front-wise, right on the knee pads.
I think I saw a signal from Streak that there might have been a lap point. Yes.
All right, I just heard an arms penalty on a jammer, but I missed.
Sandy's in the box for an arms call.
Okay, so we're gonna have an official timeout, perhaps. Let's see. Freya Hugs will let us know. There we go. Official timeout. So they're gonna talk things over. So we won't spoil anything that may have been developing, as I heard about 8 people shout out conflicting things at once. So we'll step aside very briefly so the regulators can talk it over. 13-10, the Scrappers are in front here in the very early going. 9:43 to go in the first quarter.
If you're not too comfortable, just head on over to the merch booth, the snack bar, the raffle, get those last purchases made. Once the fourth quarter begins, you'll no longer be able to refill your souvenir cup. So take advantage of it now. Our snack cart is coming around. The lovely Pam with the black hat that says snacks on it.
Yeah.
Get some chips.
All right, Derby fans, during this timeout that doesn't exist anymore, well, hold those raffle tickets at a ready position for a future break in the action. Well, let's wait and see if the timeout's over first. I could have given it away by now.
It's a lot of blue skaters in the penalty box we might be looking at.
I'm staring longingly at Freya Hugs like I do from across the couch. Freya Hugs is our game executioner and my spouse. It's not creepy. There we go with that whistle.
Okay, we're underway. Looks like a tiny pack. We like a little tiny pack. These are fun.
All right,
really, and power. Yep, and pink power.
That's right. We do have a power jam. It's our first power jam of this second bout of the evening. I hear some Beauties fans getting excited up in the stands. That's Skeletori at the jammer line, and we did end up with a penalty.
Ooh.
Wow. We've got 3 Schoolyard Scrappers parked in the box, and at the moment, a jammer and 2 blockers. So there's only 2 blockers out there for the Scrappers on this power jam. They're going to do everything they can. That was Pikachu, and Pikachu doing what Pete could and blocked Tori right off onto the infield. Kind of used their own Tori's own momentum to kind of jujitsu her down towards the paint area.
Still an really well executed power by Pink. The less laps the team that is skating the power O makes, the less their jammer has to skate around. So it's super important that that pack is slow and Tori is fast. Yeah. You saw Tori get out before the first turn, also crucial in making sure you get as many points as possible. It's a rule of thumb in the league that 10 points is a successful power jam. Anything more than that is icing.
Yeah, there we are with 3 full passes.
Wow,
Tori gets halfway around again. That's going to be a big old 15-point power jam for the Brutal Beauties here in the early going. So
she made it look easy, but it's tough.
Yeah, Beauties spring in front there, 25-13, and yeah, you saw essentially the strategy here. We're going to have a stoppage and play here by Freya Hugs, but the strategy, I believe, when you've only got 2 blockers out there, is you really want to kind of like slow them down and just try to eat up maybe one of the scoring passes and keep the damage, to limit the damage in one of those, and not give up a humongous chunk of points.
The disadvantage of having not a lot of players is it's a lot of track to cover for those 2, but it also gives a lot of flexibility and strategy that's not normally there when you have all 4 blockers in the box. So you will see all defense, all offense, a little bit of both from everybody. But it all depends on what plan you're trying to make, and you're always trying to execute whatever strategy you can faster than your opponent.
Yeah, and in that power jam right there, you saw Pikachu with that block, well executed, sprung at just the right time, and it burned a solid 8-9 seconds off the clock, which was about what it would have taken Tori to get back to the pack.
Yes.
So that one block was a direct save of 5 points. So
100%. You're trying to neutralize.
Therein lies the hard work.
You will see skilled blockers in this league make sure that target is neutralized. You want to see them move all the way up to the rail or all the way to the infield with their target. Like you said, less skating from the jammer means less points for the jammer.
And I'm sure Al knows this story well, but after a power jam when there is 2 defenders, both defenders are in the penalty box.
Yes.
That's kind of, you kind of gotta You kind of gotta when there's just two of you out there against everybody else. So Pikachu and Venus Vendetta are rewarded for their defensive effort by getting to chill out for a couple minutes.
100%. It's hard to not overplay
Yeah.
when it's only two people. Here
So-
we go, a little jammer race. It is a race to see who can get out
Oh, there
first
we
in
go.
that chaos. A little bit of an accidental trip there. Slaya is out lead, coming around. Second apex, first straightaway. A little bit of chaos in the pack. Not a lot of people up on their feet. Blue wall in the front. Slaya a little juke to the low. Looks like Stitches was able to catch her right there on the coping. Slaya sees an opening, and she is through, coming around on scoring pass number 2.
Sandra Slay O'Connor now is going to have to get back up behind the pack. You
Slaya
see-
coming in. I don't see any blue walls. There's a little bit of point of contact between Stitches and Remy in the front, but not enough to keep Slaya in, but just enough to clip her and into the infield that she went. Pink is doing a really good job at clearing out, and even if Slaya's not successful at getting out, she's getting her hips past those opponents, which is how you score.
So it's another big 10-point jam there for the Brutal Beauties. Beauties have put some big points on the board here. That is a 25-0 run for the Brutal Beauties over the last 3 jams.
And a 10-point regular jam is excellent. Going ahead and putting 10
Absolutely.
points up on the board when both jammers are on the track is difficult and skilled to execute. Good job.
This
Pikachu
is-
for blue, Evil Twin for pink. They both, oh, that was really unusual. The blocking from the high took both jammers out at the same time down in turn 1. They both have recovered, and they're both trying to get past any way that they can. Peak is lead and Twin is right out. We have a jammer race coming around in the first straightaway. Twin is now making sure to put enough pressure on Peak to do that, just that, call it. We
Yeah.
affectionately call that a jammer race when both jammers are out on the same scoring pass. Jammer race.
And you can see Peak checking over her shoulder and kind of keeping tabs and making sure not to give it away and called the jam. No points for either side. 6 minutes to go in the first quarter. That is going to be Colette Razorcat for the Brutal Beauties.
We have, nope, it's Avril Lavigne. Avril Lavigne for the Beauties and
Oh.
Dolly Spartan for the pink. for blue.
I could not see that. You're right.
Dolly is already out, ran that high right between the rail and the kick plate. There wasn't anybody in that lane, so she took it. Avril Lavigne out now, same scoring pass technically, but way behind Dolly. Dolly actively scoring, just has Volt to pass, does so, calls the jam.
I have to apologize to anybody here to see Avril Lavigne. I totally had thought Avril Lavigne was Colette Razorcat the first time, and I said it again, and Al corrected me, so my apologies. That is Avril Lavigne's second jam of the evening. There's a 2011, there's an 011, and there's an 801. Cut me a little bit of slack. Just a little.
And we can only see the back of them and their hair flowing in the wind. So
All right,
We have
so
a tough
now
job up here.
underway, and there goes number 011, Skeletori, for the Brutal Beauties, up closer to the front of the pack.
that blue wall was doing a good job, but in their haste to recycle, actually opened up their points of contact, and that's why Tori escaped. So Olive is doing the same thing, trying to take advantage of there not really being a pink wall right now. We see some pink heroics, a little bit of one-on-one blocking, some recycling, re-engaging, making sure that Olive can never get all the way out. Some fancy footwork from Olive Udai, but still back behind a pink wall in the back.
Big block there coming up from the, wow, that was, yeah, that's another one you don't often see is doing a block like that, fighting against the force of gravity. That was Hugs and Stitches with the off arm coming up to block Tori. Tori gets through, though. 6 seconds left on this jam clock. And there at the back of the pack, you do see Olive trying to get in and try to help, at least try to impede. Play a little bit of jammer defense before the clock expires.
Full scoring pass plus a lap point for pink, 6-0.
Up to the jammer line now for the Beauties is going to be Gypsy Danger, jamming for the Schoolyard Scrappers for the first time this evening, Full Metal Anarchist.
Blue is turning around, really making sure they're visually identifying that pink jammer. Jaeger wants to know exactly where Gypsy is before she makes that initial contact. Metal's coming around, a nice quick knee tap recovery coming around on her first scoring pass.
Track Monster reached up and got her. Up to the outside, now blocked down to the inside. Goes
Just
full
wants to
metal.
make sure that that's clean and calls the jam.
Had one more skater to get by and was able to stick their hips right in front of thigh voltage before they called it off. 3 minutes to go. That's 4 points for the Scrappers. So right now, Beauties 41, Scrappers 21.
We have stitches on the jammer line for Blue, and it looks like Crowbar for Pink. They both take the low lane. Stitches a little swoop, a little transition around. Still got caught up in that Pink defense, and Crowbar was successful at getting all the way out. Jammer race. Stitches is coming around, and remember, right now, Stitches would love to score some points, but her primary objective is to make sure Crowbar gets as few as possible by putting that pressure on to call the jam. A little bit of after the jam contact. We'll see if there's anything to be done about that. A great jammer race, though. Dolly Spartan for the Scrappers and Slaya for the Brutal Beauties.
All right, Jam 13 is underway from behind me, and there you go. Wow, everybody. Now, that many people cannot fit into that small of a space at once, everybody. Knock that off. Now trying to fight through. Oh, there it goes. Everybody just kind of spreads out. And there's your lead jammer, like magic. We got Dolly Spartan in the checkered shorts as your lead jammer for the Scrappers.
And Slaya is out, so still on a jammer race, but Dolly has plenty of time. Dolly gives a little hop and a skip, a full scoring pass. We love a coping jump here at AZDD.
Dolly Spartan, to the great delight of teammates, with a wonderful apex jump there to finish off that scoring pass, 41-25. Beauties in front. Scrappers have now put together a couple of scoring jams. Jamming for the first time for the Scrappers tonight is number 19, Kitch.
And we have Skeletori for the Brutal Beauties. They both with a slow approach and now really churning those legs to try to get past the blockers if there are any seams open. Both of them did a great job at just running it out. Jammer race. We'll see if Tori wants to fight or not.
And Tori drifts to the outside a little, but manages to call it off.
Tori
did give
does
away
not.
the inside. So another fun jam race. We've had a few of those shake loose, and once again, no points for either side, unfortunately. We will squeeze in what is almost certainly going to be one last jam before the end of the quarter. And let me get it right this time. Jamming for the Brutal Beauties, Avril Lamine. Thank you. Your jammer for the Schoolyard Scrappers is Sandra Slay O'Connor. Oh, goodness.
Running it out. And Sandy, last blocker to beat, and she is out. Coming around lead on her first scoring pass. Avril Lavigne somehow squeezes through turn 2 and is also out on her first scoring pass. Pink is really running away. Pink is what we call trying to points protect. You'll see Pink rush to the front or try to make as few points available as possible. Volt played a little first line of defense in the back, make sure Sandy doesn't get any points at all, while their Volt's teammates had recycled all the way to the front to stay safe from being scored on.
And that does, as I had figured it would, bring us up to the end of the first quarter. All right, so after a couple of scoring swings, it was 13-10, and then the Beauties went on a huge run, and then the Scrappers brought it a little closer at the end. So our score as we go into the quarter break: Brutal Beauties 41, Schoolyard Scrappers 25. Get those blue raffle tickets ready. We got some raffle prizes to give away. There'll be at least one. There might be more than one. The winning ticket that I hold in my hand right now is 591.
So there are strategies that are played from the close bench, specifically because you can get there before your opponent. And there are strategies that we do to counteract those close bench strategies when our teams play from the far bench.
It's always a game of, and you'll see clock management strategies and teams waiting to call timeouts or calling strategic challenges in lieu of a timeout that you don't have. Things like that. You know, I'm going to challenge this penalty. So you'll run into all sorts of strategic gamespersonship. It is really a whole lot of fun to watch. Like, not just, you know, if you just watch the jammers, it's kind of like only watching the wide receivers in the NFL, you know. There's a lot more going on.
So much more. So we have stitches for Scrappers, and who is that? Oh, Evil Twin already out on her first scoring pass lead for the Brutal Beauties.
That's right.
Stitches doing some pirouettes back there, trying to get past Razor Cat and Max Overdrive in the back. JJ and Razor Cat trying to pull a little tripod there in the front. I don't know what something with just two. A bipod in the front.
It is a bipod.
And Twin goes ahead and scores Stitch's point as well.
Right. In the biathlon in the Olympics, which is the cross-country skiing and rifle, you set your rifle on a bipod to shoot it. So, yeah, bipod is the word.
Fun fact, if you didn't know about Al and Ialacha, I love the Olympics.
The Olympics are great. So, like I said, see? It's just like, we're going to have an official timeout. Oop, somebody's water bottle got dumped, and that is not real safe when everybody's wearing wheels on their feet. So, yeah, we're going to take a second here to have a facilities check. Clean up an aisle near bench. Clean up an aisle near bench. Thank you. Somebody called Dan. Even though he was up to Dan foolery earlier, we're going to need Dan to clean up this spill.
Yeah, we actually skate on urethane wheels that are actually really hard on the durometer. So we like a little bit of glide, a little bit of slip, but not as much slip as water. It's actually really hard to get any kind of traction at all. So water is actually on the track specifically, it's horrible.
Right.
So we get a drip on our swamp cooler every once in a while, and then we get a nasty surprise. But any water needs to be cleaned up basically immediately, or someone's going to have a rude awakening. We already talked about concrete being hard.
Looks like we're all set. We got everything stowed, and we're ready to go.
That was a remarkably fast cleanup. Good job,
It
Olive.
really was, yeah. No. Yeah, apparently we got like actual, ShamWows down there maybe. We have at the jammer line for the Brutal Beauties is Princess Leia.
And for the Schoolyard Scrappers, Scaren Yeager. Starting way back, they wanted to make sure that they were going to approach that pack with speed. Tried to hit the pink wall of NC and Gypsy Danger in the front. Looks like Remy was able to peel that point of contact open, but Yeager was still neutralized to the infield in turn two. Sleia's coming around on the first scoring pass. Just enough speed to make sure that she maintains enough speed to break through any points of contact when she arrives. Blue didn't even see Sleia go ahead and hop the coping. Sleia's going to do a little bit of clock management and calls the jam.
You saw Yeager come through there with a full head of steam, and then Gypsy Danger, again like we talked about with that one block by Pikachu earlier, Gypsy just kind of got in the way and let Yeager take Yeagerself out of the whole play,
Yeah, 100%. Some of the things that you're trying to do is sometimes just be an obstacle. You don't always have to do a heroic block. Sometimes you can just be in the lane that the jammer is trying to take, and that can be enough.
Be a traffic cone. That is going to be Skeletori getting a hard shot from Pikachu. Skeletori is your jammer for the Beauties, and now is going to weave around Mads, and Skeletori wins the chess match.
Ash is still keeping those legs churning for the Schoolyard Scrappers coming around turn two. Trying to run the high run, trying. Twin able to continue to transition and keep those legal target zones closed. Ash is coming around. Tori jumps the coping right there in turn three. Calls a jam.
So that was Ash's first time jamming for the Scrappers. Ash jammed once for the Brides tonight. And that also another interesting. We got 54-25 as the Brides put 4 more on the board. But skaters that I see, I watch a little bit of roller derby here.
Yes.
And I see skaters make the jump from year 1 to year 2 a lot. And Ash Smasham, of course, was a rookie last year. And this year I see you can see as people develop as skaters, like the confidence, especially going through corners, being steady. And it's really interesting to watch skaters grow as they progress in the league.
I'll have to give all of that credit to Ash. She does a lot of skating that's extracurricular to just the brides. So she's putting a lot of effort into a roller derby, and it shows.
Right. Well, it's like when people say, oh, Steph Curry shoots 30,000 jump shots. Well, yeah, he does. There goes Sandra Slay O'Connor trying to clear along the inside. NC with a wonderful block and get Sandy on the infield. We're got 26 seconds to go in this jam. Sandy now gets those two blockers pushed out of play, and Gypsy and NC now just kind of have to wait for the pack to catch up.
Yeah, if Sandy skates the track well, 22 seconds is plenty of time to come around and get some points. Avril Lavigne coming in took a little breather there on the infield, trying to make sure she comes in clean. That three wall of scrappers has been successful in making sure that she never escaped.
Saw Dolly Spartan there, irrespective of the 0.5 second remaining on the jams clock, delivering one heck of a block to Avril Lavigne at the end of that, which, as you know, you play through the whistle. We are looking at 54-30. That's a 5-pointer for the Scrappers. It's kind of continued a pace, I would say, as we've been chit-chatting, that the action has continued. As you've seen on your wonderful live broadcast on the Twitch. Oh, the Twitch. That is all of you jamming for the Scrappers.
And it is Evil Twin for the Brutal Beauties, running the high in turn one, really trying to take advantage of how hard it is to stay in a flat wall. Stitches falls down, and Twin is able to escape, coming around on her first scoring pass. Olive is still stuck in the back behind JJ. High lane opens up, gets through a wall of her own people, coming around on her first scoring pass. Twin is asking for offense to be played or not.
Yeah, there came Evil Twin, and Hugs and Stitches was not moving, and then Evil Twin wasn't either.
Blue is coming around and points protect.
Blocked off to the inside. Stitches took a fall there, but then also just kind of curled up in the please don't kick me in the face position. I thought for a second was possibly injured, but looks to be okay. So, two more for the Beauties up on the board, 56-30. Beauties in front. We're at 9:30 to go until halftime. Right now, your 50-50 cash raffle is at $120. Hey, we want to goose that along. That's $60 to the winner right now. Don't forget, cash raffle tickets, 1 for $5, 2 for $10. That's buy two, get one free, which is a good deal, even at Kroger.
Gypsy is trying to take advantage of an open low lane and a little bit of a confusion for the blue. There really wasn't a wall there, but Jaeger recognized in enough time that Gypsy was about to escape. Gypsy takes a friendly shoulder out of turn 3, coming around our scoring pass. Dolly's coming around lead, trying to see what pink points are available. Takes advantage of not really good awareness on Pink's part. Dolly gets all the points.
Dolly able to tiptoe through along the coping right there, and Dolly puts 4 points up on the board for the Scrappers.
Yeah, the skilled jammers in this league really have a sixth sense of when the other team's defense sees them and when they don't. So you'll see those coping jumps, a little bit more risk-taking when it's obvious that the team's defense doesn't even see you approaching.
So don't look now, but here comes Freya Hugs to stop the game, I said calmly. I was going to say...
Stitches is going to get a little bit of a breather. It wouldn't surprise me if they put her back on the jammer line.
So what we're going to have when we come back to the action is indeed a power jam. And we are waiting now for a teen timeout from the Schoolyard Scrappers because the Scrappers want to talk strategy before that power jam starts. Before we went to the break, it was Hugs and Stitches at the jammer line. But that is not set in stone. We shall see. At the moment, 56-34, the Beauties in front. We are halfway through the second quarter.
So as we were talking about earlier, remember approximately 10 points is a successful power jam, and a nice 10 or 15 point swing would be fantastic for the Scrappers. So they took a little bit of extra time to make sure that the strategy that they're going to try to execute is going to get them as many points as possible. So if you're new to roller derby and you're not sure what's supposed to be going on in a power jam, Blue wants the pack to move slow, while Jaeger themselves wants to be moving fast.
Let's go ahead and take a look at one of these raffle prizes, why don't we? Go ahead and check those blue tickets. Once again, we're looking for 591355 from previously. Let's add a new one to that pile. Let's check out 591336. If you're either of those winners, go ahead and give us some sort of, hey, we got a winner. Nice. All right, we will call that one a winner, and we will toss 355 in the recycle bin. All right, that'll be the winner, and that goes into trash. Okay, back to the action we go, and indeed, as Al had mentioned, it looks like they are going to switch jammers, and it's going to be Jaeger out there scaring Jaeger for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Jaeger, go ahead.
It's really, really crucial, that stop there. As you mentioned earlier, making sure that the jammer doesn't get out initially at full speed can really decrease the number of points that are scored because you're decreasing.
37 seconds to go in the power jam, and there you see the Scrappers are going to spring into action.
A really nice clearance by Stitches on the high to give Jaeger that high lane coming through at full speed. You see Blue deciding whether they're going to keep Colette Razorcat as a goad. Yes, they are. They're trying to keep the pack in the back. Remember, Blue wants to go slow. Jaeger wants to go fast. Pink did an excellent job recycling and re-engaging that Blue jammer. So what you want to see is pink walls.
Jaeger gets spun off onto the infield, and looks like the clock expired while Jaeger was on the infield. Jaeger is tired.
That wasn't lack of desire. That might just be gas.
Yeah, I was going to say Jaeger is extremely worn out after fighting against several blockers. Jaeger puts 9 points up on the boards for the Schoolyard Scrappers during the power jam. So 56-43. The lead is 13 for the Beauties.
Looks like we have Kitch on the jammer line for the Scrappers and Princess Sleia for the Brutal Beauties. Sleia and Kitch both using speed to their advantage, trying to speed that pack up, take advantage of any discombobulation in either of the walls. Sleia's coming around lead.
Sleia was trying to spin along the inside and really spun nicely out of a block there, trying to pin her to the infield. So now Kitch out as well, and here comes Sleia.
Blue recognizes that Sleia's coming around to score. Looks like M or Olive was able to clip Sleia. Sleia gets back on before Kitch scores any points, calls a jam.
You saw Sleia try to pull off the apex jump, and that's why it's such a thrill, is because it's not always successful, but landed safely on the infield, and nobody is worse for the wear. We have Dolly Spartan on the jammer line for the Scrappers, and that's going to be Skeletori once again for the Brutal Beauties.
Is it my imagination, or is this, I feel like we've had this pairing before.
Yeah, we're settled into a pretty nice rotation, I think.
Yes. Tori again just uses that speed, turns those legs, makes sure that she is out before turn 1. Again, that really increases not only Tori's chances of scoring, but how much she can score. Dolly's out on her scoring pass as well. Tori taking advantage of a little bit of
big block there by Jaeger as Tori was coming up out of the corner. Tori now is going to spin around and check. Good time to do so as Dolly Spartan coming in with a full head of steam. Tori calls it off.
Even with all that speed, Blue was really able to get together in a wall that was able to stop Tori, and Tori was thwarted.
We are going to be setting up now on the jammer line. That's going to be Pikachu for the Schoolyard Scrappers.
And Avril Lavigne for the Brutal Beauties. Really taking advantage of her slight frame, squeezing in, points of contact, squeezes past her own 2-wall in the front, is coming around lead. Is this Avril's first escape? I feel like it might. She's coming around to score maybe the first points of her roller derby career. Oh.
Avril has jammed a couple times tonight, despite my repeated attempts to misidentify them. And is now in the mix for points here. We can't say anything officially, but there will be some points on the board. Here comes Pikachu meandering down the back straightaway and trying to catch up to the pack. Avril hears the call from the bench, and Avril calls it off.
That was really good awareness of her jammer of her experience level, not only being able to listen to the bench, jammer awareness while she's on the track, and her teammates telling her to call it about 5 inches from her ear. Full Metal Anarchist on the line for the Schoolyard Scrappers. And who is that? Evil Twin for the Brutal Beauties. Both cut up to the high lane. Both kind of get crunched up in some of the chaos up there. Twins really struggling hard against Dolly Spartan, but Dolly Spartan was able to discourage her from taking the high lane. Twin takes a low lane and a whip off Colette Razorcat.
Yeah, excellent
Metal
move.
still struggling against JJ in the front. JJ blocks in transition. Colette Razorcat in transition. Max in transition. Really keeping that pink wall slow to make sure that the pack is in the same place when Twin comes around. Dolly being a little bit heroic, making sure that Twin doesn't get out, but she's unsuccessful. Twin coming around for another scoring pass. 20 seconds left of the jam.
To give you an instant replay of what just happened, Dolly Spartan slashed down the track and crashed into Twin, and Twin crashed into her own blocker, and it was like the swinging balls thing where like clack, and Twin stayed on the track and then just took off, and her own blocker went on the end field. I just had to, again, since we don't have instant replay on Twitch, I just had to call that. That was amazing.
There are often times that you come all the way down to your blocker box and you are unsure if all your body parts are still attached.
Yeah. Checking in on points here. Just kind of try to stay quiet. And now it's been in. Yeah, try not to talk too much when the regulators are trying to do the important part and not me over here going blah, 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 blah. It's 8 points for the Brutal Beauties, in fact. Beauties have put together a bit of an offensive run here. It was 56-43 not that long ago. The Beauties have thrown 15 unanswered points up on the board. 2:24 until halftime.
Gypsy Danger for the Brutal Beauties. All of you die out there for the Scrappers. Lead for the Scrappers. Gypsy still trying to squeeze her way out somewhere. Pink offensive onslaught, trying to make sure that Blue is disorganized enough for Gypsy to squeeze through. Olive coming around at full speed against a 3-wall of Pink in the back. Hits NC and takes a knee. NC, Volt, and Slaya communicating to make sure that Olive stays behind them. Blue offense to try to make sure Olive gets as many points as possible. Little swoop, high sweep by Scaren Jaeger. Olive gets all the points. Blue wins the jam. Olive skated directly to the penalty box. We didn't hear anything called, but there she went.
Yeah, apparently Olive must have heard something be called.
Yes.
So Olive is in the penalty box. 4 points on the board for the Schoolyard Scrappers, but at the expense of surrendering a power jam to the Brutal Beauties. Brutal Beauties now in front at the moment, 71-47. That's going to be Skeletori, your your co-captain.
Tori was able to avoid a little dive bomb from our friend Dive Bomb Dolly. Tori still struggling against a actively recycling Blue defense. Remember, as Clifton mentioned, Blue's ability to keep Tori in on this initial pass for as long as possible is important to how few points they want her to score. So Blue is re-engaging in the front, trying to run what we call the accordion. So Blue is trying to get as far away as possible, and Pink is trying to keep them as close as possible. We have Venus and Dolly left in the front, almost to the edge of the engagement zone, out of play. Tori can go ahead and go past. She doesn't have to honor their position anymore. See what she can do in the last 10 seconds of the jam.
Tori now trying to catch up. You see Venus Vendetta, they're sort of pinned at the front of the pack and just is not going to wind up back in play before the expiration of the clock. We'll have time for one more jam here in the second quarter. Venus Vendetta is another skater coming back to the league after a hiatus, and also another well-known defensive specialist for a while in this league. So hence being out there on something such as Power D. That does take us to the end of the quarter clock, but we've got time for one more jam. So we got Sandra Slay O'Connor at the jammer line for the Scrappers, and that's going to be Princess Slaya for the Beauties.
Slay takes advantage of the tiny pack for Blue. Well out and at full speed, coming around our first scoring pass. You see Pink's crushing Blue up to the rail, trying to keep that low lane nice and wide open. In situations like this, remember, Pink wants to go slow. Slaya wants to go fast for Pink. Taking advantage of keeping that pack in the back. Slay has plenty of time for another scoring pass if she wants it. 23 seconds left in the jam. Sandy still stuck behind a pink wall. Volt playing a little bit of offense right there at the front, keeping pink in just enough confusion to make sure that they can't really focus on Slaya. If Slaya puts the jets on, she can absolutely score. More points here in the back.
Slay gets blocked off to the infield there. Everybody looks like they're right. They help each other up at the end because, of course, they do. We're going to check on that score there. That was a very, very, very prodigious jam for the Brutal Beauties.
ISO 18. Okay, drop it as 18. 18. We're going to go on halftime, and I need to replace.
All right, everybody, we're going to have a halftime merch toss. We have stepped aside for our 15-minute halftime. And we're going to go ahead and do another couple of raffle tickets here, so join in with me. All right, we got 2 raffle prizes to give away here at halftime. The first prize winner is 591330. 591330. Again, hoot and holler if that's you. We know a lot of people left after the first bout, so no sense in us repeating the number over and over again. Your second winning ticket at the moment is 591373. 591373. All right, Derby fans. Whoa, welcome back. Unfortunately, we're not quite back from halftime. Believe it or not, I said it was halftime earlier, but technically speaking, we've gone back in time. And there is, I'm trying to be cute, but let me just explain it. So there has been a challenge from the last jam of the first half. So ergo, what it is the Brutal Beauties have challenged the scoring of points, and they want to verify, which is why you see the eye in the sky. Some Puerto Rican guy with the towel on his shoulder down there is your eye in the sky, and your jam referee Dolly de los Muertos with the pink headband is how you know what they are doing, and those are the people that are responsible for scorekeeping. You can see them gesturing and kind of explain who passed who when, and that's kind of your inside look at the challenge process as that continues. We would also like to let you know definitely and immediately about the annual Spooktacular Derby Dames Regulators Chili Cook-Off. That is coming up. Speaking of the regulators, speaking of those very people, the annual chili cook-off is delicious. I've entered it twice. I entered it one time, and I wound up with some ham hock bones in my chili. And I was like, yeah, no, I deserve to lose. All right, there we go. It's been reported up to us. Let me finish about the spectacular first. The Spooktacular, the chili cook-off for the regulators. It's going to be at Daddy O's Grill, which is at 4163 West Thunderbird Road. That's 43rd Avenue in Thunderbird. And it is on Saturday, October 21st from 6 to 8 p.m. To enter your chili, it's $20. And there's a trophy for the winner, raffle prizes and whatnot. And then you can also show up and sample chili. There will be an audience winner and a judge's winner. It's a good thing Bill Sandweg isn't here. If Bill was here, then we would both enter chili and we'd both win. But we want to let other people have a good time and experience what it's like to win a regulator's food competition. It'd be rude if we just won all of them. The points challenge was successful by the Brutal Beauties as we prepare to start the third quarter. Brutal Beauties end up with 20 full points, 4 full scoring passes in that last jam of the first half, and we're underway. That was one sentence. Sandra Slay O'Connor is your jammer for the Schoolyard Scrappers.
And it looks like Princess Leia struggling against just Scaren Yeager and Morning Madness up at the front. Slaya coming around on a scoring pass. Sandy's still behind a pink wall, high in turn 2. Sandy's going to try to play a little bit of like bait and switch. Let Slaya come through. Hopefully her skaters look at her and not her instead and trying to squeeze through some pink. NC's got laser vision, though, and so does Gypsy, making sure that Sandy doesn't get any purchase anywhere. Yeager's still trying to break up that pink wall in the back as Sandy gets around on the high side of her own wall in the front and is coming around on a scoring pass. Slaya is coming around to try to get whatever blue points are left over, ducks around Morning Madness in turn 1, and calls a jam. You okay?
All right. Sandra Slay O'Connor slides and safe at third, beats the throw.
We got Skeletori on the jammer line for the Brutal Beauties and Dolly Spartan for the Schoolyard Scrappers.
I'd like to. I'm allowed to sass Sandy because I'm her underling. It works, trust me.
Again, this combination of Dolly Spartan and Tori entertaining us again. This has been a fun matchup to watch all night.
Yeah, there's been several of these that have broken out into a flat-out jammer race, so we'll see what we can expect here. Obviously, both very proficient jammers.
Both jammers try to cut the low. Tori struggling against one blocker in the front. M tries to get her with her hindquarters and is unsuccessful. Tori coming around on for scoring pass. Blue jammer disappeared for a second.
Yep.
And it's Dolly Spartan up and back in play coming around jammer race.
While Owl was away, Dolly had actually slid on one knee pad through the infield, popped back up on the track, but was not guilty of a cut track because the blocker slid off too. Ergo, why Dolly Spartan was re-emerging from view right when he glanced over. And it's 4 more points for the Brutal Beauties. Beauties have breached 100, 103-47 Brutal Beauties in front here.
Alvaro Labine on the jammer line for the Brutal Beauties and Hugs and Stitches for the Scrappers. Labine squeezes through a back wall of her own skater, stays upright and squeaks out second. Stitches lead jam coming around on this jammer race. It's very difficult for me to not call Avril. by her rookie name because I've been training that skater for about a year.
Stitches up to the high side, weaves around her own blockers, just tries to kind of crash into the wall of blockers there and just score some points the old-fashioned way. And we'll have to see if that was all above board. Checking on.
And by the old-fashioned way, he means brute force.
Yes. The old-fashioned way, I mean, you know, the old-fashioned way you fix your laptop, which is fist, bang, work now, need new. At the jammer line now for the Beauties, that is
Evil Twin, and we have Jaeger for the Scrappers.
All right.
Both cut high, twin cuts low, out lead jam in turn one, coming around really making sure that they're getting as much advance on Jaeger as possible. This is going to be Twin's only scoring opportunity, most likely. So she's trying to get points, hit it, and quit it. Calls the jam.
checking on the score there from Evil Twin, see what she could pick up working along that back end.
So Pink is really trying to stretch those three wall of blockers all the way across the back blocker box line. It's actually really difficult. You can see some open seams there. I know Kitch probably sees them. And then we have a little bit of like room to everybody to kind of move around. Both jammers take the low. Kitch stays with the low strategy. Gypsy kind of ping-pongs around, works on that blue wall in the front, trying to get them all the way to the edge of the engagement zone so that she can possibly get them out of play, and she's lead jam. Kitch comes through. Pink recycles rapidly and is able to keep Kitch in momentarily, and she's out as well. Jammer race. Gypsy's coming around score. Blue should be going into points protect. They want to be away from Gypsy and together if at all possible. You see blue points protect in the front, and you see a little bit of offensive strike from Slaya. Forced to call the jam was Gypsy in the front. Just 1 point scored by Pink in that jam.
That is the second straight 1 point jam for the Brutal Beauties, in fact. So 10 minutes to go here in the third quarter. We have had 2 minutes elapsed, and we have 2 points on the board.
If
the
you stick
thrill
around,
of roller derby. I kid.
if you stick around long enough, you will understand that 1 point is plenty.
Yeah, oh yeah. Every single point. You never know. We've got 011 versus 310. That is Skeletori and Full Metal Anarchist.
Metal trying to hit that high with as much speed as possible. Again, it's very advantageous to come into the turn with any speed you can and challenge the defensive walls to stay flat and upright in the steepest area of the track.
Tori, go ahead.
Metal still struggling against a Pink defensive wall in the back. Tori with just a 2-wall to beat in the front. Squeezing past the point of contact. Stitches trying to make sure that her body stays in front. Tori's able to cut around Stitches on the high. Coming around to score another pass, if possible.
9 seconds left on that jam clock. Metal kind of spun off to the infield there and now is going to try to play jammer defense, but the Beauties are able to kind of preclude that from occurring, and that jam is going to end. We'll check on the scoring there for Tori to make it official. 8 points. So
this might be NC's first jam for Pink tonight. And then Dolly coming up, the veteran jammer for the Schoolyard Scrappers.
Yep. Can confirm this NC's first jam after a handful earlier. NC's first jam for the Beauties.
Yes, this is youth talking, being able to play 2 full bouts back to back.
Right.
You see where I am, Clifton. I'm here, safe with you.
Oh, yes. Right. Oh, pulling some people down. That's Pee Wee Vermin being asked to leave the track momentarily. Now we're ready, they say.
Some shuffling happened as some penalties were called a little bit late. Dolly Spartan out lead. NC tries to cut up. Jaeger successful at keeping her in. Jaeger successful at blocking off. Peak not successful at keeping NC any longer. NC's coming around to score. Dolly easily steps around Slaya in turn 3's coping and calls a jam. Pink is staying strong with that back wall strategy. We have Colette Razorcat and JJ and Max on the back line. Evil Twin jamming for the Beauties and Kitch for the Schoolyard Scrappers.
Looks like the Scrappers have their full complement of skaters for this jam. 7:39 left till the end of that third quarter. It was 4 for the Scrappers there, 113.55.
Yep, penalty boxes are empty. 10 people on the track.
Well, that leads to some clustered up action, as you see here at the front of the pack. You've got Evil Twin battling, trying to get clear. Kitch now is going to run into some wall, but shaking loose. There goes Evil Twin for the Brutal Beauties.
Kitch is just being patient back there, making sure that not only does she skate cleanly through the pack, but she stays upright. That's one of the most important things a jammer can do, stay on their feet and moving forward. That was a really skilled and patient jam from Kitch, coming around to score. Twin is still lead, hits a 3-wall of recycled and re-engaged players in the front and calls the jam. Looks like Dali de los Muertos held up a 3. Yes, 3 points for the Beauties in that jam. What do we got? Avril Lavigne versus Stitches. Tricky.
That jam gets underway. Stitches kind of gets pushed up into Avril, then trying to shake through.
Pink doing a really excellent job at squeezing those points of contact, but Stitches is still able to squeeze down on the low. Avril Lavigne accidentally gets tripped, it looked like by her own player, a little friendly fire. Stitches coming around to score. Remember, Stitches wants that pink pack right where it is. Make sure she can easily just squeeze by. And Stitches calls the jam. You'll hear the teams talk about jammer awareness. That can mean a lot of things. Awareness of where your own jammer is, awareness of the opposing jammer, and making sure that the strategy you're trying to execute is going to stop or help that jammer, depending on which jammer it is.
We have a whistle from Freya Hugs, and the Brutal Beauties are going to use their first second half timeout. So the Beauties are going to take a moment to take a breather and talk it over. So 5:31 to go here in the third quarter. It's Beauties 116, Scrappers 59. One of our longtime sponsors here, of course, is Siphon Draw Apothecary. Siphon Draw Apothecary is an all-natural, non-toxic, handcrafted skincare line using all-natural botanical items sourced locally. They smell wonderful. They smell like the desert petrichor after a wonderful rain. Look up petrichor. It's a beautiful word. It's as beautiful as Siphon Draw Apothecary's handcrafted skincare line I just told you about. I've used it. The paint stick is wonderful. Everything smells fantastic. Dali de los Muertos, who is currently on the infield as a regulator, is the proprietor, and several skaters work around and with them. Siphon Draw Apothecary can be found on Facebook by searching for that self-same name, or they can be found in the historic Goldfield Ghost Town off of Highway 88, out east away.
All right, back to the roller derby action. We have Skeletori on the jammer line for the Brutal Beauties and Sandy for the Scrappers. Both take the high lane. Call it Razor Cat able to catch Sandy before she squeezes out in that lane. Tori trying to use some fancy footwork to make sure she can squeeze past the Scrapper defense in the front. Swarming is Max to try to make sure that blue stays disorganized enough for Tori to squeeze out. There's Sandy, pops up right from the infield in turn 2, still struggling against a pink wall. What you're seeing here is a squeeze, right? So we have 3 and 1 and 3 and 1. All teams are trying to slow down all at the same time to make sure neither jammer gets out. Sandy gets out lead.
Sandy is your lead jammer. It's nice sitting next to Al because then I say, oh, they're doing that 3 and 1 and 3 and 1 thing. And Al says, it's a squeeze. And it's like, oh, okay, great. Here comes Sandy on her first scoring attempt. They're still fighting to get the jammer out, are the Beauties, as Sandy now is trying to weave through the pack. Skeletori for the Beauties was out at the front. Sandy goes ahead and calls it off after finishing off that scoring pass with Tori emerging as well.
Yeah, speaking of squeezes, you'll see that same strategy played right here at the beginning of a jam. So instead of immediately recycling, re-gauging, you'll see teammates commit to a strategy that is slow and squeezed together, trying to keep those points of contact tight enough where a head, a shoulder, a hip of an opponent can't get through.
That's Ash Smash 'em for the Scrappers. Oh my goodness, Ash Smash 'em for the Scrappers.
And out on the coping, coming around on her first scoring pass. Gypsy in tight pursuit.
Gypsy able to stay upright and stay on the track. Ash is out now, checking over their shoulder and looking for Gypsy, and Ash calls it off. Sorry, thankfully I don't have to say Ash Smash 'em for the Scrappers very often. I can usually just say Ash Smash 'em for the Brides. That was woof. My tongue is still recovering.
The roller derby alliteration is real.
Oh, yeah. At the jammer line now for the Brutal Beauties is Bitch Please. And that's going to be Dolly Spartan for the Schoolyard Scrappers.
Looks like full packs for both teams. So again, 10 skaters on the track. Takes up most of the space. And we like it that way. So looks like Bitch Please able to step around, but Kitsch pulls a sweet little transitional block there to make sure that she doesn't get out on the coping. Blue really squeezing that three wall together. You see a little bit of tripod action. We have quite a few skaters that have bitractual experience. So you see a lot of skating in transition, great speed control, super slow, tripods, cubes, whatever you want to call them, to keep those jammers in. And Bitch Please escapes. Pink lead.
Bitch Please, another skater who's rejoined the league after a hiatus. Good to see her here. And a switch numbers, trivia fact, 817 was her second choice, and when number 17 popped available, she took it. So she's returned to her home number of 17, fighting through on a scoring pass, and that clock's going to expire. She told me that during the break. I love throwing in stuff like that.
So well fought 3 points for the Brutal Beauties.
Oh, and unfortunately, it was a well-fought 3 points, but it is at the expense of a power jam. So for the Schoolyard Scrappers now with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter, it's Skarin Yeager at the jammer line to do a power jam for the Schoolyard Scrappers.
It's important for the Scrappers for this to be successful. They really want 10 points or more on this power jam. And of course, that means that's exactly what Pink doesn't want. They want to keep Skarin Yeager in for as long as possible because that means they score as few points as possible. So you see Pink swarming to the front to make sure that somebody's still in front of Yeager. Slaya escapes as well. Pink is in points protect now. So what you're going to see here is an attempt to run the accordion. Pink wants to get away to the front. Blue wants to stay within 5 feet of them to make sure they can't get too far away. And still trying to go into points protect. Gypsy's able to stay balanced. And here is a pretty classic accordion. Shameless plug, if you want to see the accordion run, watch the Brides. Skate Power D.
This is also true. This is also very true. It is okay. It's not a shameless plug. You can, when you walk the walk, as you all have done for the past 4 league seasons, you can talk the talk out.
It's not bragging if you can do it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. We're going to have a timeout here before the third quarter runs out. That's going to be an official timeout. Looks like they were perhaps checking with the outside pack referee. We're going to have an official timeout here momentarily. We'll get back to the action. It's 119-68 after a 5-point jam by the Scrappers. Brutal Beauties are in front.
Yes.
At the moment,
Last call for snack bar.
last call for snack bar. Last call for snack bar. Pam with the snack part coming on around. Pam with the sparkly hat. I'm just going to make a whole song for Pam. Pam with the sparkly hat is coming around with the... I was digging this out because we wanted to tell you during this timeout, we wanted to thank the following individuals for following us on Twitch. We'd like to thank Project BEOA and Craze Factor, and we have a new sub, and that new sub is Mr. Sweet Feet. So thank you, Mr. Sweet Feet. I recognize that name.
From Roller Rage, yeah?
From Roller Rage. I can't
Yeah.
remember his number off the top of my head. Is it 40? No.
His feet were indeed sweet.
I have to think about it. Roller Rage was a while ago. But
Looks
anyway,
like a
thank you
power
very
jam.
much, as always, for everything here. And Keep an eye on Twitch. Always, thanks for following us on Twitch, following and subscribing. Please mash both of those like, follow, and subscribe buttons. It's going to be Skeletori for the
Power.
Brutal Beauties, and that is
Nope, not power, regular.
Garen Yeager for the Schoolyard Scrappers. And they're both trying to fight. Well, look at that. They both burst out right at the same time. Tori's going to try to shut off the inside. Now they're going to hunker down, and Tori says, no thanks. Tori says, yeah, no thanks.
We talk about skating the track, and during power jams, when a jammer race is happening, it's basically the only time that you'll see the jammers take the low lane all the way around. It's the best and shortest way to make sure your opponent doesn't accidentally pass you, because giving up leads embarrassing.
All right. At the jammer line, adjusting the footwear is Avril Lavigne, and that's also the Kitchuation for the Schoolyard Scrappers.
Kitch with her signature shoulder shimmy, trying to break those seams, making sure that the pink players aren't able to make really strong connection points. Using a little bit of jersey pulling on her own teammates, trying to push past the last little bit of defenders. Takes an unlucky fall there and is up and has just NC to beat in the front. Runs past on the high. Slay is able to re-gauge and recycle. Gypsy is there too. That's why you really want to keep those feet moving, because trust, the opponents are coming. We have Avril Lavigne sneaking past right there in turn one, coming around. Blue recycle and re-engage. And Avril didn't want anything that All of You Die had to offer.
Quarter clock has expired, so this is going to bring us up to the end of the third quarter. Kitch putting an academic point on finishing off that pass of the pack. We will check on that score. No score from either side. And we are at our final quarter break of the evening. So, 5-minute break. Your score right now, Brutal Beauties 119, Schoolyard Scrappers 68. Let's take a look at a couple of more raffle prizes. Right now, those blue raffle tickets. Take a look at blue raffle ticket number 591318. 591318. Make a sound, hoot, holler, wave. Garner our attention in some fashion. We're going to start giving these away pretty quick. Hey, we got a winner over there. 591318. You know what to look for. It's that brightly lit thing over there where I'm not. So look where I'm not. That's always very helpful, is to give you Oh, I've just been told I shouldn't say that it's a tennis ball to the teeth. Sorry, I'm going to workshop that.
Don't forget the people over here in the first straightaway. 8. Raul. Ooh. I see you, Castro. I'm sure Clifton or Volti mentioned it earlier, but we have a lot of roller derby knowledge just walking around. So if you are a first-time guest, or even if you come all the time and you still have questions about what the heck is going on, grab anybody in a uniform. We're happy to talk shop with you, answer any questions you might have. Me specifically, if you just see me hanging out, I can answer most things about roller derby, bank track specifically. So reach out and let us know how we can make the sport more accessible to you, because I like watching a sport when I know the rules. All right, we have about 30 seconds left to the first quarter, to the fourth quarter starts. Let's call some more blue raffle tickets. Get your blue raffle tickets out. 591370. 591370. All right, moving on. 591412. 591412. One more. 591380.
All right, looks like we need to get underway here in the fourth quarter. Up to the jammer line for the Schoolyard Scrappers is Dolly Spartan, and we've got Evil Twin for the Brutal Beauties. So, yeah, once again, both teams seem to have settled into quite the reliable jammer rotation this evening.
Looks like full packs for both teams as well, which is always advantageous. It's a lot easier to run your strategy when you have all the people there that are supposed to be helping you run it.
And
Dolly's a little bit stuck in the back, runs that high side right past JJ. Evil Twin coming around to score the first points of the fourth quarter. Takes a risk, pays the price, scores the points, calls the jam.
Twin plowing into Morning Madness there in the back straightaway, and that was a quite effective block by Mads. We've got 4 points for the Beauties on that jam. It's going to be Gypsy Danger in the jammer line for the Brutal Beauties, and it's Sandra Slay O'Connor for the Schoolyard Scrappers.
Okay.
Looks like we got both jammers trying to work their way almost. Oh, no, I can't tell. And the pack passes by, and it becomes a moot point anyway.
Gypsy wasn't sure, so
yeah,
Gypsy went to the back.
Exactly. There you go. Play it safe. Why risk a cut track? Sandra Slay O'Connor ruling on the front end. Lead jammer for the Schoolyard Scrappers. One heck of a fall there at the back of the pack. I heard somebody just clatter into. Oh, Sandy into the. Oh, my goodness. Look out. Everybody watch out. My goodness. I'm not even kidding at this point. Sandy hit the stanchion on the infield. Kitch looked like a taquito at QT rolling off the track. Everybody keep a lookout now. Sandy is going to fight through and get another block from Pee Wee Vermin at the end of that. My goodness. Hope everybody's got all their teeth.
Just a little bit too late, but well fought.
Yeah,
Sometimes jams just are like that.
Sandy just right up into that padded stanchion like it was a CFL touchdown. We've got 5 points for Sandy for her effort there. Full Metal Anarchist is at the jammer line for the Scrappers.
And Skeletori for the Brutal Beauties. Looks like a player advantage for the Scrappers. Looks like Pee-wee in the penalty box.
Looks good.
So
Interesting,
we'll
you
see
know.
what kind of strategy that they'll play.
People say roller derby is so metal, and now you can say metal is so roller derby. Anyway, metal gets bumped off onto the infield. Roaring silence. Up to the front of the pack, we've got your pivot out there at the front trying to clear space. Skeletori now waiting for assistance, but Dolly Spartan is going to escort Tori down to the infield. Both halves of the pack just kind of swapping places willy-nilly at this point. And now there it goes.
Metal
Just as
is
simple
lead.
as that. A defensive rotation by the Brutal Beauties opens the door for Full Metal Anarchist.
Peak was successful, temporarily stopping Tori. Peak and Stitches both have to let her go. Metal comes around for a full scoring pass. And at this point, not really a jammer race, but Metal wants to make sure that time is eaten away off the clock, but still make sure Tori gets 0.
Metal, of course, hanging out back there because what if Tori were to stumble and go to her hands and knees on the track, and then Metal gets a free point. So why stop until the whistle blows? That's what they always say. That's how they train you in train a camp, kid. It is 123.77. That was 4 points for the Scrappers. Looks like we're going to have NC Jammer for the Brutal Beauties, and that is Skarin Yeager for the Scrappers.
6-pack, so not really a player advantage. 3 blockers from each team. Jaeger coming around on their scoring pass. NC still not out for the Beauties, but trying. Pink was able to re-engage just in time to make sure that Jaeger didn't get out. And now they're bouncing around to try to get some purchase.
NC now out and clear, checking around, and just as NC was checking around, that was going to do it for the jam. Checking for both sides here. Looks like, yeah, no.
We got Bitch Please
No
on the
score
jammer
this time.
line for the Brutal Beauties.
4, there we
and
go. I was going to say, I was
Sandy-
waiting for a score, and I just couldn't see who was down here beneath the rail. Okay, so Bitch Please for the Beauties, Sandra Slay O'Connor for the Schoolyard Scrappers.
I think this is the 3rd jam in a row that the Beauties have skated short. It's very difficult to execute that strategy without all of their players. A little bit of crash and bash right there in turn 2 on the coping. Bitch Please struggling against Dolly Spartan and Stitches in the front.
Yeah, I was going to say,
A
excellent
little bit more to
effort by the
go.
two of them. Another good block by Stitches. They're probably going to be out of play here soon.
Very
Or
soon.
not. Oh, they just were out of Just out of play. Bitch Please gets to get the wave on by.
Yep, Sandy unsuccessful so far about getting past JJ and Zora in the back. Dolly playing a little bit of offense while she waits to play defense. Bitch Please takes a knock to the infield right off the coping between 3 and 4. We have a lot of just like 2s.
And that'll do it as Bitch was trying to fight her way through and
I
score
don't
at least
know-
a couple more points in that pass. That was a 3-point scoring pass for Bitch Please. Obviously, time now becoming a factor. The Scrappers are trying to mount any charge they can, but the Beauties have pretty steadily maintained about a 30 to 40 point cushion since the end of the first quarter. So it's definitely now been, at this point, making the clock their friend.
100%. It's about maintenance at this point, making sure that you're playing clean enough where you're not giving away power jams, which can wildly swing the lead.
Very quickly.
And then maintaining this lead that you have.
40 points is 2 20-point power jams. Not to be flippant about the math, but it really is. There was a massive collision back there at the back of the pack. That was Jammer for the Beauties taking the worst.
Ash
of that.
Masham able to get out lead jam. Bounced around just long enough, was patient, squeezed out past a wall of her own players. Labine still in the pack versus a 4 wall of blue. Ash is on her own as she approaches these pink points in the back. Trying to run them up, it's again very difficult without any momentum in the turn. So it's important if Ash can manage it to stay upright and in play. It takes a lot of energy to get back on the track when you've been knocked off, especially in the turn. So we're out there. It's a struggle.
All right, we're going to have a stoppage in play here, and it's an official timeout. Freya Hug signaling. So regulators need to chat over some of the goings on during that jam. We'll check on the results thereof here in a moment. 7:47 to go here in regulation. Brutal Beauties in front, 126 to 81. Don't forget about another one of our longtime league sponsors, Lost Dutchman Tattoo. That's their banner hanging over there. We'll be giving away a Lost Dutchman Tattoo gift certificate later on in the bout, of course. Lost Dutchman Tattoo, they offer fantastic. They have anything you like. Giant books of tattoos. They also do freely drawn tattoos. I have one of them on my bicep, and it looks really nice, and I show it to people in the hospital. So that is something you can do. Al's got the copy about Lost Dutchman in front of Al. Al was discussing some things with Shirley Temple of Doom there.
Yeah, Lost Dutchman Tattoo shop specializing in various styles from realism to traditional. You can also customize your own tattoo. Walk-ins are accepted. The shop is located at 4121 North 19th Avenue, east side of 19th Avenue, north of Indian School Road. And we will be pulling our last blue raffle ticket to win a Lost Dutchman Tattoo. So stick around to the end of the bout.
That's right. We're underway, 20 seconds gone in this jam. Skeletori is out, your lead jammer for the Brutal Beauties. Checking over at the other side of the track. There goes Tori kind of weaving through, and Tori almost a big tumble at the front there.
Any more blocking by either Peak or Stitches would have been out of play, so they went ahead and disengaged. It's another one of those penalties like cut track that it's just not worth getting most of the time. Dolly's finally out. Tori's coming around. Blue's in points protect. You saw all the blue skaters flow to the front. Tori is trying to get as many points as possible, but she says, no, I have enough. Pink sticking with that back wall strategy. Slaya on the jammer line for the Brutal Beauties. Looks like Morning Madness's first jam for the Schoolyard Scrappers. And the box is not clear. We have one penalty being sat by Skaren Yeager, so that means Pink is going to have a player advantage.
Hey, Al, not to feed a loaded question to you, but can you tell people why Skeletori looked at the three skaters in front of her and then called the jam and got 5 points? Aha. Because I know why, because I'll answer it for Al while Al's watching this action. No, it's a fun one. It's because Tori had passed all 5 skaters, and Tori turned around and saw who was in front of her and said, I passed them, and called it, and was right. So there you go. Now shaking out the front of the pack for the Schoolyard Scrappers, well, that's Morning Madness. Your lead jammer is Princess Slaya for the Beauties.
Again, Mads is still gambling that something might happen to Slaya.
That's right.
Where she will still be scoring, and Slaya allows her to score. That was an interesting jam. You don't see a lot of allowing the non-lead jammer to score, and sometimes that is a strategy that's been called in advance.
And I greatly apologize. I really should have gotten that one a little bit better on the jammer line, given that it was Mads' first jam. So one more time from for Callie, Mary, and everybody else down there, Morning Madness. There we go. Yeah, good. An applause. That's hey. You know what? I just wanted to recognize Mads for the first jam of the night.
Absolutely. Her family is here.
Yes.
She deserves some accolade. Little jammer on jammer action. Dolly Spartan thinks it's valuable to neutralize Twin to the infield. Twin says, "Girl, bye."
Twin racing by a line. Sorry, go ahead, Al.
Nope. Dolly still struggling against that pink wall in the back. Twin coming around to score. I do not know whether blue defense sees that Twin is arriving because I don't see any blue walls just yet. Stitches is able to stop Twin. Not exactly sure why she called the jam off so early, but again, it's about maintaining energy and your lead cleanly.
Brutal Beauties put another 4 up on the board. And it's going to be NC Jammer for the Beauties, Skaren Yeager for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Both of these skaters skated in the first bout tonight, of course, and jammed several times. Can be seen all over the track. In fact, both of them sort of the 5-tool players of the derby world. They can really do a little bit of everything and do it really well. Meanwhile, that's Yeager at the front of the pack, and Yeager's just going to push that blocking wall out of play. Yeager's your lead jammer for the Scrappers. NC racing along the inside, and NC is going to put the pressure on to try to keep this to one scoring pass for Yeager.
Yeager coming around, actively scoring on what pink players are left in front of them. Calls a jam. 3.5 minutes left in the bout versus the Brutal Beauties and the Schoolyard Scrappers. We have Stitches for the Scrappers, and the jam started before. Oh, it's Tori for the Brutal Beauties.
There you are.
Struggling in the back versus M, Dolly, and Peak. Really trying to maintain a wall that's going to make sure Tori can't get out. Tori does have some fancy feet, though, and she's actively moving past them. As soon as their points of contact break open, Stitches coming around actively scoring, being taken all the way up to the rail, and then alternately all the way down to the coping, taking advantage of moving around the track and trying to make Pink lose track of her. Coming around to score again is Stitches still lead for the Schoolyard Scrappers.
Had a collision there in the back straightaway. That was one of the Beauties blockers going down. Couldn't quite catch who it was there.
Stitches just did a Stitches there, a little bit of brute strength right through, just crossed arms. And for the people out there watching, crossed arms are not a wall.
All right, checking on the scoring for that one. There it comes. It's an 8-point jam for the Schoolyard Scrappers. Scrappers are winding up, trying to broach 100 themselves. 141.93 with just over 2 minutes to go. That's Gypsy Danger for the Brutal Beauties, and for the Schoolyard Scrappers, Sandra Slay O'Connor.
And we have a little bit of a tiny pack situation going on. Only 2 skaters in the blocker box for the Brutal Beauties, and 3 for the Scrappers. So this often ends in a all-out jammer race, but Blue was able to capture Gypsy before she could turn her legs any faster to try to escape. Sandy's coming around on scoring pass, and with this score, Sandy definitely wants to get points and make sure Gypsy gets none.
Catching up to the pack now. Here
Yep.
comes Sandy with a blocker. That's Remy Ruckus running fullback. And then now ducking along to the inside. Sandy finishes off that scoring pass and calls it off.
A really successful low sweep executed there by Remy. Brought all the action up to the rail and let Sandy swoop out on turn 1.
All right, there is going to be a team timeout by the Brutal Beauties, so they're going to use their final timeout of the bout. 141.97, Beauties in front at the moment. And Derby fans, we're going to give away some stuff. How's that sound? Let's go ahead. What do you have, Al? Al, you go ahead and go first.
Okay, we have Get Your Blue raffle tickets out. 591301.
Is this the big one?
591301.
So 591301.
Nobody? Moving on. 591289. Woo!
Hey,
we have
somebody
a
write that.
winner
Look
right
at how
there by the
close you
crow's
are.
nest.
It was meant to be. Reach out and grab your prize. All right. Let's really quick before the action gets back to the action. Let's give away the cash raffle prize. We'll get a final tally for you momentarily, but your winning ticket with the red raffle ticket is 591541.
Red ticket winner 591541. You are the winner of our 50-50. Let's
We got a winner over
go.
that away. I love giving away a raffle prize on the first draw. All right. Well, we will hang on to your ticket. You are the winner because you said woo. We're getting back to the action now. Probably time for at least 2 more jams. We've got Hugs and Stitches at the jammer line for the Scrappers. And we've got Evil Twin for the Brutal Beauties. Stitches is going to start off right away playing jammer defense. Twin's trying to bounce out of it. Now Twin around to the outside, ducks inside of Olive. Runs up into Mads. Shakes around Mads, spins, and Mads wins the block. Mads knocked Twin off to the infield.
Olive comes up to bolster that blue defense, and Twin literally just keeps running until she escapes. We have Stitches squeaking by through turn 4, coming around on the same scoring pass now. Now it's a jammer race. Twin coming around to score. Stitches coming around to score. Twin hits a seam, calls a jam.
Twin decided to try to split Mads and Jaeger, and Twin did not split Mads and Jaeger. So, mitosis denied. Up to the jammer line now. That's 1 point for the Beauties there. It's going to be NC jammer for the Beauties. And then up for the Schoolyard Scrappers is Pikachu, your captain, to close things out here. This will be the last jam of regulation. We'll check on penalty jams momentarily. Watching the action now, trying to fight through, and there goes NC Jammer. Fighting all the way through, stays upright. Track Monster does not claim one last victim this evening. NC Jammer fights off the Track Monster in the back straightaway, now rockets through along the inside and calls it off. That will expend the quarter clock, so let's wait momentarily and see if the game has ended or if a penalty jam will ensue.
Looks like we're clean. All right, if you're still around and you're looking to win that Lost Dutchman tattoo, I'm just going to call blue raffle tickets until somebody wins.
There we go with that final whistle. It is official. Head referee Ref Boyardee says your winning team with the final score of 147-97. The Brutal Beauties have moved to 1-0 on the season.
The Lost Dutchman tattoo, 591-364. 591-364.
Come on down and slap the track side with
Nobody?
your other hand while you check your raffle tickets. We got a winner down there?
Was that a
is
winner
fantastic.
for 591-364? Yeah, that's a lucky spot
Hey.
today. You won some T-shirts.
There we go.
Did you win a swag bag too? Okay.
Let's hear it for the Schoolyard Scrappers now, coming on around. An excellent effort by the Scrappers. Always there, always throughout. Hard-fought effort as well. So now all the teams have skated once, and we have 3 teams at 1-0 and 3 teams at 0-1, and now the game is afoot. Now we find out who beats who and who's going to wind up playing for that trophy that's right down here in front of my left shoe.
Yeah, if you've never been at an AZDD championship bout before and you're on your way out and you'd like to see our really cool season championship trophy, it's right here. It is wood, and it is copper, and it is gorgeous, and it's really heavy, actually.
All right, Derby fans, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget the Arizona Derby Dames Regulators Spooktacular Chili Cook-Off is Saturday, October 21st. Our next bout for the Derby Dames is Saturday, October 14th, right here, 5 p.m. It'll be even cooler. How fun is that? We'll have another fantastic bout for you. Some of the teams you saw this evening, some of the teams you saw previously. As always, if you have had one too many glasses of souvenir cup juice, don't drive. That is a stupid decision, and I'll drive you home if I have to. Don't test me. I've done it. For Al Annihilate Yet. No, you know what? Not for Al. Go ahead, Al.
This is Al Annihilate just signing off.
Yeah, I didn't want to sign off for you. I'm Clofton P. Grudge. The extra R remains for ribs. Good night.